Hi guys, it's Casey here at Colonial Gardens, an independent garden center in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. And I am here with what I think is our staff's very favorite annual of the year. This is the Suncredible Sunflower in yellow from Proven Winners. This year we made it a point to test as many annuals as we could in our gardens to really buff up our knowledge and help us really see how these plants performed for our customers. And we ended up testing probably about 50 of this variety of plant, and that's largely due by accident. We actually accidentally ordered about 150 of these plants when we were looking to order 30, which for us is a lot more than we normally go through of any particular variety. So we tried to make lemons out of lemonade, or lemonade out of lemons, and planted a whole bunch of them on grounds to see how they performed in a bunch of different spaces. And this sunflower has really, I think, exceeded anybody's expectations from what they put it in the ground in May to what we're seeing throughout this entire summer. So the Suncredible Sunflower is a bush variety of sunflower. So instead of being one big stalk with a couple branches, it really bushes out into what is advertised as like a 2 by 3 foot shrub-like form, but it really ends up being more like a 3 to 4 foot tall and wide bush that is, as you can see, just blanketed in these 3 to 4 inch wide miniature sunflowers. Right now, this plant behind me, it is early September. It has been blooming since May, but really started to fill out in June. It's currently covered in lots of bumblebees, skippers, and we've even seen goldfinches come and feed off of the seeds. So it is a wildlife and pollinator powerhouse. This is something that the animals here have really been attracted to, and so have our customers. We've gotten lots of comments about how beautiful this plant is. And it's really low maintenance. It is one of the varieties of sunflowers that you don't have to deadhead to get blooms out of. It does put out more blooms if you deadhead, and it looks a little bit cleaner. So you can see some of these spent blooms you would just clip off at the next branch, and there's a next bud waiting to come out with a flower. We also will snip these blooms for our florists to use in our fresh cut flower arrangement, and we found that they've had a really good vase life too. So low maintenance. We do very minimal care for them. This is a space that doesn't have great soil, still performs great. At this point in the season, we are not supplemental watering them. After they're established, they're very drought tolerant. They survive out by our roadway, so around a lot of air pollution and extreme heat, they're doing well. And around our pond, really being a showcase around our shrubs this year. Some things we didn't get to test, we did not get to test if they are as deer resistant as they're advertised. We've got pretty voracious deer over in our woods, so we decided not to plant them there, knowing that this was a potential target for those deer. But maybe next year we'll give it a shot since they perform so well in these areas. The other place that we tested them was in our downtown Phoenixville planters. Our plant care team plants up and cares for throughout the summer about 23 planters in downtown Phoenixville, and we tested out this sunflower. And while it was really, really beautiful for a large part of the season, one thing that we did see in the potted plants that we see a little less of in the bedded plants is some breakage of the branches. So we know that we prefer to put it in the ground, and it is a great performer there. We've actually had to cut it back. If you take a look, Pat, there's only about 3 of these plants behind me, so you can really see how massive they get. We did have to cut out some of the branches just to give a little bit of sun to an aster that's been popping up. So in some settings, especially if there's heavy winds or in some soil settings, you might see some branch breakage, so you might have to do a little bit of trimming that way. But overall, they're such a beautiful plant that the blooms really speak for themselves. It is a really incredible annual. It is something that we will probably plant every year from here on out, just in some place around the gardens because they perform so well. And overall, like I said, this is our staff's favorite annual of the year. This is the Suncredible Sunflower from Proven Winners. You can get it here at Colonial Gardens in May. We're happy to carry it, and we'll see you soon.